Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and we are now in episode 12. So there's maybe 2 to 3 more left, including this one. It just kind of depends, and we're kind of getting an overview right now of where we left off in the last episode. And I just love how this is coming together. I'll admit I've been a little stumped at first on what I wanted this side of the park to look like, and I'm still not totally sure just because I think this part's come together really nice, and that's one thing that I kind of struggle with sometimes is just kind of be like, okay, how do I want this to be laid out, if that makes sense. And so yeah, so wow, I just said so a lot. I'm happy with what we have so far, and in this episode, I know the first thing I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna try to build a cool looking food building in this spot. And then we also need to look at, because we're at 91%, so we need to look at building the wooden coaster that's going to go back there and get that determined along with the pathing system here for the wing coaster, because all of that has to be figured out for me to be able to use the cheat once I get to 100%. And just to give you an idea, if we were to delete this now, um, it would be this coaster as well. This coaster. Now, if I'm being honest, this one really doesn't save much, but we can delete up to 5 coasters. So it'd be this one plus the wooden coaster that I make. And then I think this was I'm trying to see what was yeah, so we delete that. And then if we delete this part, which I think was also, no, I wasn't going to delete that. I was going to delete that right there. So you can see that gives us about 19 to 20-ish% left, and that's not including the wooden coaster. So we're going to have anywhere from 23 to 25% probably to finish working with. So let me go ahead and get started building, and I'll see you on the first update. Here we are at the first update, and there's actually a fair amount that's been done, a little bit more than I was intending to do. Now, this is what would be a newer style kind of Vekoma family coaster. I don't know if I'm going to keep it there. So that's just kind of an idea. But there's definitely a couple of new things. I ended up building a lot more that I'm into for this first update. But if you come this way, we now have a modern kind of just food and drink building. And obviously our minds are kind of going over there to the wooden coaster. And I'll go over that in just a second. If you come inside, there's still some touch-up stuff I need to do. Got some ideas from seeing something on PC for this kind of realistic building, which I realize that's kind of off a little bit, so I need to fix that. But yeah, really, really happy with how this turned out so far. And those are not actually lights. It's just art shapes made to look like lights and made to look like fancy lights. So the idea is to have, some seating out here, some seating out in this spot right here, and then probably some flower patches in here. And I think I'm going to do another building, just trying to continue it down this way. I'm not for sure yet. But now if we go this way, we can see the wooden coaster. And just trying to figure out how the pathing system is going to work here. So what I've done is this is the kind of family style Vekoma. Pretty short and straightforward. But a lot of times those family coasters are. So I really like how this is turned out, though. This is detailed. You can see these sticking up. I'm going to, place some, what would be the term? Some of the rooftop realism stuff to kind of cover up those areas. So now I'm trying to think of the name of the coaster that I got the idea for this first drop from. It's the one in Thailand. It's a newer GCI. I think it was open in 2020. Rolling Timbers, maybe? I forget the actual name, but it actually has this first drop where it rolls around. Like, I think there's one in Germany that does this as well. But instead of straightening it out, it actually overbanks more as you get to this hill. And then you come down into this turnaround. So that was the idea, and overall I'm pretty happy with this layout. There's a couple areas that I might need to tweak just a little bit, but I was trying to get it to have some of the, and I still got to work on some foliage and trees, maybe remove some trees because maybe I did too much, and then also add in a quick inversion. So we will take a ride on this coaster at the end, but tried to have some airtime moments like you can see right there. Tried to add some Mystic Timbers type airtime moments to it, and just GCI coasters in general, as we can see the coaster go around the track now. So yeah, there's still a lot to do on this section of the park, but as you can see, 98%. So the reason I wanted to get this built was to be able to use the cheat. So now, sorry, I just yawned. It's like 12:30 here right now, and yeah, and so trying to figure out the placement of the queue pathing. And because this is a wing coaster, if I want to be realistic with it, I need to have the stuff on both sides. So I was trying to model gatekeepers. I was probably going to do some custom stairs and stuff over here, but we will get to that later. But for right now, this is what we have. Quick update here, as this will be the last one before the final update. Now, what I want to show you is I've kind of changed up the configuration here a bit for the pathing. I might change some more, just trying to get a good idea of it. And so what I did is I actually raised it up a little bit just to give it almost a little bit more of a majestic look to it, because you got to kind of walk up to get there. And I have 4 different pathways. I'm probably just going to outline that, put a little bit of flowers, nothing too crazy. Let me go ahead and connect this path right here. Let's see. So that's too large of a path. Let's go down one more. There we go. Yeah, so as you can see, that's pretty flat, and I have to adjust a little bit of this with the terrain and stuff. But overall, happy with it. And what I think I'm going to do is um, I might place like a staff room in here or something, or maybe like a food place, just so that people will actually get in line looking like they're waiting to go in line for the elevator. So I think that's what I'm actually gonna do, and I'll just put like a little covering on the top there. Um, but yeah, so now as you can see, this restaurant, as we've looked at before, and then the coaster with a little bit of a crazy queue, because this is such a tight, confined space. I was trying to think, what am I gonna do with this queue? Well, this is what I figured out so far. So we'll see if I need to adjust it. Um, Yeah, that is quite the confined space, and I didn't realize it was going to be that. And because right here, I'm going to build one of those little switch tracks where, actually, you know what? I don't have enough space for that. Shoot. Um, oh, I might have to adjust something, because, actually, you know what? Maybe, yeah, I can get away with it. I can add the extra track on here and have it come out this way. So that kind of reverses out of the station. Not the most realistic, but it's going to have to work, because I don't have a lot of space here. So we'll see. Maybe this one will have to go without transfer track, just because we're getting near the end, but we'll see. So I need to add that realism. Yeah, so this is what we've got, and essentially what's going to change, or what's going to happen now, is the reason why I'm showing this video is we need to create our blueprint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of save everything. Now this is the tricky part, because if you look here, that's 805 pieces. So I got to make sure I'm saving all the proper pieces. That's 879. So it highlighted some stuff that was not part of the blueprint. So that's the tricky part, is only highlighting what I want to delete. And the reason I'm doing this one is because this is going to be a pretty easy one to replace. And how I know that is if I take this. So first off, we delete it, I kind of see what's left over, right? And then, so if we do this, and if you see how it's moving on the grid, on the axis, sorry. It's moving directly, horizontal, all that different stuff, right? Ooh, it's got that car attached to it. Oh, that's easy. There we go. So that saves that one and this one. Man, I'm so glad I noticed that. That makes it a lot easier. And so what that's doing now is it's saving all of this. So if you look at it, I'm just going to have to replace this properly whenever I place it back down, which that won't be too difficult. Because the orientation is going to put it in roughly the same spot. It's just going to be the height and stuff, so that won't be bad. So let me go ahead and do that again. And then now we can say, so you can say 4,000 pieces and the coaster, which I need to add some custom supports on this thing. So now we got this one. And I think I did the station. Yeah, that should work. Should work. I do have to put some supports on there. Hopefully I don't forget that at some point. Okay. Oops. Yeah, I don't want to select those fences. All right. So now we got 3 coasters. Oh, let's see if this is going to work. We're going to save this, and we might not need it, though. Just depending on... let's see how they do the exit. I don't know if that's going to work. And we'll test it out in a second. So then the 5th one is this coaster here. Now, the reason I'm saying things... Man, I got to support a lot of these. That's not what I meant to click on. There we go. Now, so the reason why this is important is because now I can save this as a blueprint. And the key is I want to get on an elevated spot, because when I'm placing this basically spans the entire map. So I'm going to save blueprint, and I'm going to save this as, I'm just going to do save valley. Then description, I just do the same thing, because I know exactly what this is for. So save blueprint. So now if you go here to coasters and you go to, why am I going to go there? I should go to source, your creations, and there we go. So now what's going to happen is when it places it, it's going to be placed in the same orientation, and then you can kind of move it around, and you see there how it's going to allow you to place it. So now essentially what it's doing is it's allowing me to double up what's in the park, essentially. And so you can kind of see the placement of it and so forth, and you can kind of adjust it and then move it down. And then at the end, I'm just basically going to go in and replace everything. But so just real quick, and another thing you want to do is you never ever want to build up to where your exclamation point shows up, because when that happens, it's not just, oh, you remove one piece and you go back under the limit. It's about 100 pieces that you got to remove. So that's a big step. So what I do at this point is I save the file every 10 to 15 pieces or so, just so I'm not too far behind. But let's see how much percentage we're going to have. Plus, guests take up about 1.5%. So there, let's see. Let's actually test out this one real quick before we delete that. What I mean by testing it out is, actually, no, I'm not going to worry about that yet. Let's see. So if we delete that, have I deleted all the coasters? Yeah, I deleted all the coasters, so that gives me back 17%. Then I can delete that. Right there. So we have 23% to work with, about 25% if you factor in losing the guests and stuff. So this is what the park looks like with no coasters. Really weird. Yeah, so that is the cheat, essentially. And like I said, I'm just we're getting near the end, so it's good to see this, but there's still a lot to do and a lot of space to kind of use. So hopefully 25% is enough. I think it should be. But we will see. So now I'm going to continue building for a little bit, and I'm building a restroom right here. So my plan for the rest of the episode is I'm not really going to work on anything here. I just want to kind of have this portion of it done. And yeah, so that's going to be the idea. We'll see kind of where I get with that. But I'll see you at the end of the episode. It is the end of the episode, and we're out here at the entrance. There's a couple things I want us to see as we walk into the park. But you can see I've started having to delete some stuff to get space, and Tall Guy Gaming's still here. I don't know what this guy's still doing in the park, but he's still hanging around for some reason. I was hoping there's like a license plate or something saying Tall Guy Gaming, and he's somewhere in the park. You know what? I might have to move him around for the final episode or the park tour and have Tall Guy Gaming try to have to find himself in the park. But yeah, so I deleted this portion here because I believe somebody said, I can't remember who, but it is true that like you don't have these everywhere because you've got to have an area to exit. Like Kings Island, for instance, will have 3 or 4 of these, and then they've got one on the end that's only for exiting, right? So there's different ways to kind of approach it, and I'm just deciding that I got to build something here, but this whole part right here is going to be to exit. So yeah, so we're entering the park like we've done a lot so far, and I mean, I just love this skyline. I mean, you would have the dive coaster right there. Then you got the power tower, which that looks cool, kind of seeing the words up there like that. Which that was surprisingly easy to do. And sorry for not doing any speed builds this week. Just I'll be honest, I kind of wasn't really in the mood to record everything I was building because I didn't really know what I was going to be doing. I mean, just the views we have here are awesome. We got the Intamin, and we got the Eiffel Tower, and you got obviously that coaster, but then you can just see over there the top of the wooden coaster. So I think that's a really cool look because you don't get a lot, like a massive view of it, but you see a little bit. But now here's what I'm really excited for. As you can see with that Larson Looper right there, this went a lot different than I was expecting. I actually got a lot done, a lot more than I was thinking I would. Now we'll go ahead and say, as you can see there is no station for that coaster yet. So there's going to be one more episode, which is the last episode, and I'll talk more about what that's going to be. It's going to be this whole area, that along with finishing touches, doing some custom supporting on the... Oh man, that's a beautiful, beautiful ride right there. That was really kind of cool seeing it from this view. But I got to do some custom supports there. So we got 2 more stations to do, 2 transfer tracks hopefully, and so forth. And so this Eiffel Tower, the link, I put it below for a couple episodes now, but I'll do that again. But I just wanted to make a sign to give credit to the creator. This is by AJ Adams 97. An amazing creation. So now as we get over here, I mean, that's a great view. And I wanted to go with kind of that newer wood color, the kind of Zambezi Zinger kind of idea. And so let's fast forward this a bit. And we're going to end the episode by taking a ride on that coaster. And I realized once I made the layout that I needed to add a block section randomly in the middle of the ride to where for the coaster to not stop at the top. So I'm not super happy about that aspect of it, but you know, it is what it is. And obviously I just need to add lights, benches, stuff like that. So now we head this way, and it looks totally different now. So we got a little vending machine area, and then we've got 3 different flat rides here, and we'll look from an overhead view in a second. But I'm really happy with this, and there's some still small touches here and there. So we got the Larson Looper, and then we've got the Charo Swing, which I realized I didn't have one of those in the park, and I have to have one of those in my park. And then we got the Rocktopus, I think is what this one's called. And the reason I did it this way is because I've been wanting to do this before for a park, but I hadn't done it yet, where you have like, I guess I kind of did in Wild Winds in that kids area, but you basically have the whole area that's just cement. Because that's actually what you see at a lot of theme parks. It doesn't look nicest, like, this doesn't necessarily look super nice, but it's realistic in terms of what you'll see in some spots and areas. We got restrooms. I just need to add a couple signs there. I realized, oops, I need to adjust that as you can see through. So that'll be part of me going through everything at the end. We got lockers here, so people wait in line to rent lockers. And we come around this way, and we got ourselves a little food shop. There's kind of a staff door right there. We got the, as I said, the Larson Looper. And then we got the queue here, which so many people are waiting in line for this, which you'll never catch me on one of those things in real life. Not at all. So we go back here into the backstage. And thank you, Moomin, for your latest video, because I definitely took straight up inspiration from your video. So Moomin Little Sock's latest series. Now, I said latest video. That's because this is being filmed during right after the release of his second episode. And right now is just the 7th episode that was released today. So this is about 5 weeks ahead when I'm filming this. But yeah, this is... I appreciate him kind of going over that because he kind of gave me a good blueprint for how it could look. So that's kind of the gate to get back there. And now maybe adding another one here, but I don't know. I just got to figure out if I'm going to have enough space ultimately at the end to kind of put fencing around the whole outside of the park. But you can see part of the coaster right there. So let's go ahead and hop out here in flip cam mode so we can get an overview. And so you see what I mean about everything just being the same cement. I noticed Kentucky Kingdom had a lot of that. I mean, a lot of different parks have a couple sections that at least have this kind of aspect to it. So that's definitely something that I wanted to incorporate. I need to add just a little bit of backstage clutter, kind of like I did over here. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. And one thing I am going to do in the final episode is I'm kind of waiting to see how much space I have. Is I'm going to try to add all the kind of rooftop realism aspects and air ducts and stuff like that to each of the different buildings that don't have that yet. So I definitely need to make sure I can do that. So I just kind of want to see how much percent I'd have left before I really went in with some of those little details. Now, one thing I haven't done yet that I'm going to do is I'm going to place like a food stall in here just for the purpose of getting guests to wait in line and having it look like they're waiting for to go in the elevator. Or would it be best to maybe put a bathroom to where they just walk in and then walk out? That might be best if we do a restroom, but we'll see that on the next episode. So now, I know we saw the layout a little bit before, and oh gosh, is it Rolling Timbers? Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact name of the coaster that I got the inspiration from for this, but it's a coaster in Thailand, I believe. I'd have to refresh myself. It's kind of got this really cool, unique drop, and I just wanted it to be packed with airtime. Like, if you look at the layout, there's not really a single moment in the ride where you have an actual straight kind of flat piece of track. Everything's kind of turned, overbanked. So definitely GCI in terms of kind of what the layout's trying to do. And I'll be honest, this is the one moment where I feel like it kind of jerks you down on that hill. In terms of maybe that part's not as realistic, but I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions on that when we do watch the overall POV. And we are going to have the first inversion on a GCI. So one thing I might do is look up some Titan Track stuff or custom supporting and see how they go about doing some of the cool kind of steel structure supports. So it does lose a little bit of luster at the end. I made the layout a little bit too long in terms of what I was trying to do, but overall I'm happy with it. So let's look at the stats real quick, and then we will end with the ride on the coaster. So 69 feet is the largest drop, so it definitely is not the largest coaster. Max speed 51 miles per hour. So, I mean, it kind of has that Zambezi Zinger kind of feel to it in terms of the speed and everything. And so thank you so much for watching. is we're going to hop on the coaster right now and ride it in front bumper mode. So as I said, there'll be one more main episode left before we get to the park tour, and I do one of those promotional videos like I did for Wild Winds and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and let me know your thoughts on the coaster.